So this is Silent Word, Chapter 32, titled Meherah. About this time, the first women disciples came to Meherabad to live. Accommodation was built for them across the railway line, separate from the main buildings, with its own kitchen and dining room and its own housekeeping. There was no furniture except a table and some chairs. The women slept on mats on the dirt floor, which were rolled up during the day. They were not allowed to leave the compound, and the men, even though many of them were close relatives, were forbidden to go near it, excepting one who did the marketing and another who kept watch at night. Dowlat Masi was made chief cook for the colony, with some of the women to help her. The heart of the place was a shy 17-year-old girl, Mahera Jahangir Irani. Her mother had been a devotee of Babazon before she came to Baba, and never let pass an opportunity of taking Mahera and her other daughter, Franny, to have his darshan. Mahera first saw Baba when her mother took her and her sister to Sakori to have Maharaj's darshan. A niece of Maharaj took charge of the girls and showed them around the ashram. A young man came down the temple steps and passed on, and the girl told them that was Merwanji, Maharaj's chief disciple. Later on in the day, Mehera saw him again. Maharaj was giving public darshan. She and her mother and sister bowed down to him and took their seats on the floor. Meherwan approached and walked round Maharaj with folded hands. Maharaj said something to Merwan and he went on out. Mehera was deeply impressed by the beauty which shone through his emaciated body and by his great reverence to his master. Mehera was at Sakori at the time of her sister's marriage to Rustam Kaikushru. Dalatmai went there to fetch her. When Dalatmai arrived at the ashram, she found that one of Mehera's knees had become swollen and she limped. She said that she had not knocked it or fallen. Upasani was disinclined to let her go and told Dalatmai to leave the girl with him. He said that Mehera was happy at the ashram and it would not look nice for her to be limping about at the wedding. Dalatmai returned to Nagar. At some point, Baba asked her, didn't she have two daughters? She said yes and explained about Maharaj's keeping the other one, Mehera at Sakori. Baba told her to go back to Maharaj, and if he was still unwilling to let Mehera come, say to him that she had come to fetch her daughter. This was a test for Daulat Mai, whether she put Maharaj or Baba first. She was very nervous as she approached the ashram, but found Maharaj happy to let Mahera go. With one daughter settled, Daulat Mai and the women relatives were discussing Mahera's marriage. The matter was brought to Baba, who said that it was for her to decide. She said she did not wish to marry. Baba said to them, there, you have your answer. Now let it not be mentioned again. Dalit Mai accepted Baba's word, and she and Mahera were among the first to go and live at the ashram. Mahera was instructed to meditate on God for half an hour every day and to write the name Yazdan for 1 hour. Dalit Mai made shirts for the boys. Some months passed and the number of women had increased. Now it happened that after some time, Dalit Masi had to go to Pune because Jamshed, Baba's brother, um, whom she had adopted, was ill. Baba called the women together and asked, would one of them be capable of taking over Dalit Masi's job? If you serve and obey orders, he said, only then will I allow you to stay on here. Only then will there be some sense and beauty in your staying. Otherwise, you cannot stay. I don't want to keep women here, but because I know that you all love to be near me, I am giving you the opportunity to serve me by cooking for us all. Naja later recalled the incident. We were taken completely by surprise, doubting whether we would be able to do it without Dalit Masi to direct us. Mahara prodded me and urged, "Why don't you say yes? We will all help you." It all seemed to hinge on my yes. I had had absolutely no experience in cooking for large numbers. And then there would be Baba's sudden moods to cope with when anything went wrong. In those days, such were Baba's moods that anything within reach he would throw out. Also, I was the youngest, being only 15 years. But the important thing was to obey Mahara's wish. So I stepped forward and said something like, "I will do my best, Baba." Baba seemed to be very pleased with this and patted me and said he would help me. And cooking was my lot till the very end. At 15 years, Nadja had grown into a rose of a woman, protected by the thorns of a multilingual wit. Has been said that only Baba's sister Mani, when she grew up, could equal her in invective. This boldness of Nadja's in offering to take up the task gave her, it would seem, a particular privilege of approach to Baba. And on an occasion, when the turbulence of his mood drove all the others behind shut doors, and he strode away from the place, she ran after him and pleaded with him to come back. But Mahara was kept aloof. At one time, even the other women were given orders not to touch her. She was to Vava what Sita was to Rama, Radha to Krishna, and Mary to Jesus, the most beloved of the eternal beloved. In her simple and gentle urging of Naja, and in Naja's response, Mara's regality was established, and the other women knew she was their queen. So I'll pause the recording as we resuming the recording. Marvin is reading.
Merabad 1. During a talk on the unseen and unfelt spiritual working of the Master, Baba explained, the food we eat is reduced to juices and then turned into blood. We know this, but we do not see or feel this process. Likewise, when one becomes connected to the Guru, spiritual advancement goes on all the time, but one does not experience it. One is quite unconscious of advancement. Even if one is not connected with the Guru, it can be spiritually beneficial to be in his company. A young woman was brought to the hospital, muttering and shouting, and was admitted. Baba went and sat and talked with her, and her trouble left her. But Baba warned her father, who accompanied her, that if he pained her in any way, he would be paining him. A blind man came for Baba's darshan and entertained his lord with some choice bhajans. On one of his inspections of the kitchens, Baba found that the rice was not properly cooked, and he slapped the cook, and then immediately slapped himself. An old man on his way to Pandharpur came to the place. He had done the pilgrimage every year for 47 years. Baba told him to stay a few days with the Mandali. Then he blessed him and dismissed him. The untouchables, as the Maratha high caste boys began singing, the untouchables and the Maratha high caste boys began singing bhajans together. A kirtan was established for the villagers, but only a few came, and Baba became angry and had the small, untouchable temple, which had been demolished and then re erected, burnt to the ground. Baba told them that since they had no feelings of devotion, there was no point in their coming any more for his darshan or for the boys attending school. Arjun asked permission to go home. Baba reminded him that he had said he would stay 4 months. After some talk, it was decided that Arjun should go home for a few days, then rejoin Baba for 4 months. And during that period, the subject of his going home should not be mentioned. Vishnu also wanted to go home, but Baba warned him that if he insisted on going, there would be a disaster. The parents of the boys came to Baba again and begged that the boys be taken back. Baba told them that it was not the boys' fault that they had been sent away, but the parents, because of their non-attendance at the Bhajan Kirtan gatherings. They solemnly promised to be regular in attendance, and the boys were taken back. One afternoon, Baba sent word to Behram to enlist the help of some of the boys and level the ground around by the school. Behram sent back word that he was shaving, and as soon as he had finished, he would do the work immediately. Baba gave him, and anyone else around, a lecture on obedience to the Guru. They should carry out any order of his immediately, no matter what the circumstances, so that his word never went in vain. In the evening, with a few of the Mandali, Baba went for a stroll in the village and came to Babureo, Talati's house, and they were brought in and given tea. Ajoba, G.I. Pawar, for some time had the duty of reading to Baba from the New Testament. Once Baba said, "Whatever Christ said was true. The time for his reappearance is near at hand, and you will know who I am." Towards the end of the day of May, Baba, with the teachers and most of the Mandali, took the boys on an all-day picnic, walking to Nagar and taking the train to Visapur. On account of his being so well known now, Baba dressed in English clothes, for he did not want the holiday spoilt by people approaching him for his darshan. This was the first time he went out incognito. He looked an entirely different person, but even so, some recognized him because of the all-loving attention he gave the boys. Leaving the train, they walked to the lake, and after a hearty meal, they got taken over the hydro works. Here there is a jail, and Baba took the occasion to tell the boys about law and universal law. The prisoners there, he said, suffer because they have broken the law of the land and society. Imagine then what are the sufferings of those who transgress the law of God and nature. The best way of avoiding that punishment is to surrender oneself wholly to the Sadguru and follow his instructions to the letter. One evening, Arjun came late to dinner. Baba said, "I entreat you with folded hands to come to meals on time. I don't mind less work done, but punctuality must be strictly observed." Some of the Mandali were found idle, and Baba was angry with them, but they said there was nothing particular to do, or if there was, they didn't know about it. They suggested that Baba list the jobs to be done every day. He agreed, and getting paper and pencil, had the points noted. 1. Keeping the area around the school swept and clean, filling up any potholes. 2. Spreading cow dung over the earth floor under the mandap. 3. Bathing the hospital patients with hot water. And 4. Washing the whole of the hospital and dispensary floors. After this, Baba and the Mandali played football. In the evening, Baba took the lead in the bhajans, and everyone noted how serene was the atmosphere he created. Thursday, being Guru Day, There were great crowds from Nagar and surrounding villages, but Baba, as well as doing his regular rounds of inspection, greeted and spoke to many. Baba examined the infant classes. Those who were progressing were put into a higher class. The teachers were to attend their charges more zealously. Baba also, with Mohan and Chanji's assistance, examined the higher classes. As part of the education of the older boys, a court of justice was held. Cases of bad conduct, negligence, and quarreling were brought before it, charged, examined, and defended, and the guilty reprimanded. For 4 months now, except for an occasional feast, the Mandali had been having dal rice twice a day, and they were finding it too monotonous, so they were now given dinner of bread and vegetables, and this continued for some time. Abdul Rahman was coming so frequently and entertaining Baba and the Mandali with his fine ghazal singing that it seemed he was spending almost as much time at the ashram as in Lonavala. There was a tea party at Jagirdar Master's place, and Baba addressed the people. He said, "On the tearing asunder of the mental curtain of one belonging to any religion, the same one God is seen. The differences and varieties of experience leading up to that are only to do with the means adopted or the religion embraced." Commenting on the guru-disciple relationship, he said, "If the guru asks one to do something and then in the middle of his doing reprimands him for doing it, the disciple, instead of answering back, 'You told me to do it,' should say, 'I was in error. I did not understand properly. Please forgive me.'" Baba told the Mandali that from 15th June he would be observing silence. One evening after bhajans, Baba asked a dozen stoutest of the Mandali to press his body and limbs with all their weight. This went on for 15 to 20 minutes, and the men were bathed in sweat, but he was in no way affected. A similar thing, it may be remembered, had occurred in the Manzil Imam, but that was more, it seemed, in the nature of a game, he pitting himself against all companions in a trial of strength. Now it seemed to be due rather to spiritual or inner processes. To another tea party, the invitation came from the host's 6-year-old daughter. Baba found her grave, halting words of welcome irresistible, and caressed her. Baba again mentioned silence. He said he would not speak for 1 year, and all who stuck to him through that period would be greatly benefited. He gave them many examples of devotees who had held on to their gurus with the tenacity of living faith. Then he told them a little story. A sadhu once began teaching a man spiritual lore, but after some years found no response to his efforts. So he thought he would work with an animal. But he found it was even more hopeless, as he should have expected. So he thought he'd try the vegetable kingdom and selected a fine tree, tall growing, strong with aspiration. But, of course, it was more hopeless than the animal. As a last resort, he started teaching a stone. But after all, a stone is a stone, whether it be a mountain or a diamond or a pebble, and cannot retain anything. In desperation, he seized the stone and struck his head with it as hard as he could, and the blow killed him. But the stone got knowledge at the same time. The Mandali could not make head nor tail of the story. Then Baba added, if you want realization, stick to the Guru, become a stone, and remain where you are. One afternoon after classes, Kishan Master was not to be found. Baba told someone to search for him. He did, but with no result. His bedding and clothes were in place, so it could not be that he had gone away somewhere. And anyway, only a few days ago, Baba had asked him whether he would like to go home for a few days to see his father, but he had declined the offer. Baba ordered everyone to search. 2 or 3 went to the village. Others combed the dry nullas or creek beds. Baramji got a bicycle and went to the Nagar railway station. Some looked in all the surrounding wells. The search was abandoned. Sooner or later he would turn up. At 9:30 that night, Kishan suddenly appeared before Baba, quite unknowing of the turmoil he had created. Baba asked him where he had been all day. He said, asleep. Baba said, but your bed was not slept in. He said, no, I slept in the unused tank. Baba asked him to explain. Kishan said, for the last 5 or 6 nights, I have not slept well because of the earache. So after I had dismissed my class this afternoon and feeling very drowsy, I retired to the disused tank where it was nice and quiet and had a good sleep. Among the Sunday visitors one day were some members of the Sata family, local Parsis. One of the boys was noticeable in a white caddy or homespun Gandhi cap. Later, he joined the Congress Party and went into politics. Mohan was allowed to return to college to continue his senior BA course. Behram, who had been unwell for some time, was sent to Bombay for advice and treatment. Bal, who had cooked for the Hindu Mandali, went home for a few days to be with his mother, who was ill. In distributing caps that Behram had brought from Bombay for the boys, Baba again mentioned the silence he intended to keep and asked all the boys to stick to him. Then he led them for a while in their bhajans, which had greatly improved under Arjun's direction. Maybe I'll stop here.
So we're resuming with Diana reading.
Baba and some of the Mandali went to tea to a Mr. Shahani's place. After general talk, Baba said, one should think twice before inviting a fakir to one's house. Of course, if he was a perfect fakir, no harm would come of it. But if he was someone on the plains, then one could never tell what might come of it. Baba then told a little story to illustrate this. A man once invited a fakir to a grand banquet. Hundreds of places were set in the high-ceilinged and well-decorated hall. The fakir arrived just before the first of the guests and asked for the meal to be served straight away. Now the host was a man of experience and knew that it could be dangerous to thwart such a man, and so he ordered some dishes to be brought. But the fakir finished them off in no time and asked for more. More was brought, more and more. Vessel after vessel was brought and taken back empty until there was not enough left over to feed the cats. On the 20th June, the first Westerner, Louis Charles Nellams, came to Baba. He had been to the Himalayas, where he had been made welcome by the monks of the Ramakrishna math, who, however, offered only the traditional Hindu spiritual framework. So he was drawn to wander on and eventually arrived in Mehrabad. He had Baba's darshan and wished to stay and serve, and was admitted into the mandali. Baba reproached Vishwanath for not being punctual in his puja duties. Everything in its time and place, he said, and punctuality has its importance. The dirty hole in the bottom is because of the mouth and the beautiful face. They are both parts of the one body. I have to look after both good and bad. Baba and all the mandali not on duty were invited to dinner by the Arangown police patil Maruti. A number of places were set in the outer courtyard for untouchables. Seeing this, Baba came down from the seat of honor prepared for him and ate with them. After the meal, he accompanied them to their section of the village and visited many of their huts. He also promised to give them some money towards a dharmshala they were building. He then went on to the house where the Christian teachers at the ashram were staying. On the wall was a picture of Christ and the 12 with the inscription, I have selected and appointed you. Baba bade them remember what he, from time to time, had told them about himself and his circle. They returned to the ashram, and in the evening, Abdur Rahman sang a few ghazals before they all retired. Through the night, there was a heavy rain. Baba told Arjun to look after his health because the success of the school depended upon him. A boy from another place came to the ashram seeking employment. As there was no work for him, Baba gave him 5 rupees for his immediate needs. Another boy who had become stranded was given his fare home, which was halfway to Pune. Baba made out a list of some 20 of the older boys in the ashram and gave it to Arjun with instructions to ask their parents to find brides for them, with the stipulation that the marriage ceremonies must be performed in Arangown. 2 boys were reported for fighting. After listening to the stories of each boy and calling witnesses, it was established who had struck the first blow, and the boy admitted it. Baba asked Arjun and the others of the mandali what the punishment should be. One said that the boy should be beaten, another that he should be made to stand outside in disgrace for half an hour, another said he should be pardoned. Finally, Baba said that he should bow down to every boy in the school and warned the boy that if he offended again, he would be expelled from the school. Despite the doctor's treatment and Pendu's careful nursing, a Hindu patient died. Baba told the Hindu mandali to have him cremated according to their rites, and he himself attended the funeral. A blind Hindu, accompanied by a small Mohammedan boy, came to the ashram and entertained Baba with his bhajans and ghazals. There was an all-day sports program. There were foot races, high jumps, slow bicycle races, the winner being the last over the finishing line, gunny sack races, tug of war, and donkey races, the last being won by Baba himself. There was a couple of hours lunch break, and the program was resumed and went on till 6 o'clock. The day being Thursday, Guru Day, the usual crowds for darshan greatly swelled the spectators. Baba had had a large notice board put up announcing his silence for 1 year, beginning from 10th July, when he would not talk to anyone under any circumstances. From the 1st to the 9th, he would stop seeing the general public and would devote himself entirely to instructions to the Mandali and the colony. Some of the Mandali thought that Baba would not be able to prevent some sound escaping his lips, especially when he felt like rebuking one of them, and told him he should perhaps keep a handkerchief tied over his mouth to remind him not to make a sound. But he told them he would look after that. Examinations of both sections of the school were held under Baba's supervision, and the results were satisfactory. 750 boys and teachers from the Rashtriya school in Nagar came for Baba's darshan and to sing to him. Baba asked Rustamji to purchase some hand mills for himself and some of the Mandali to grind their flour. The schoolroom was gaily decorated with flowers and bunting for distribution of the school and sports prizes. For his winning of the donkey race, Baba was garlanded. Then he gave out the other prizes. During the bhajans one evening, information was brought that someone had been beaten and robbed between the colony and the city. Baba told the Mandali to get sticks and go with him. After some 2 miles, they came upon some scattered vegetables and other marks of violence, but the robbers had vanished and the victim was nowhere to be seen. The searchers returned to the ashram. Then it was noticed that Anna had not come home from marketing. Presently, the police patil from Arangown came after having examined the spot and showed Baba a diary which he had found near the vegetables, and Baba said it was Anna's. Baba set off again with 2 or 3 mandali and walked to the railway station, and there took a tonga to Anna's house, where they found him with head and face bandaged. Someone with a car had picked him up and taken him to the hospital. Baba reassured his family and then took him back to the ashram, arriving there about 3 o'clock in the morning. It was brought to Baba's notice that some of the Harijan families were in great need of help, and he promised them a monthly ration of grain and other foodstuffs. The Mahars in the village invited Baba and Mandali to tea and went and brought them in procession accompanied by music. Great crowds came out to the ashram on the 30th of June, the eve, as far as the public was concerned, of his silence. Rustamji, Baramji, Nelams, Mohan, Arjun, Vishnu, Maruti Patil, Babu Gayati, and Babu Brahmin were given set periods of flour grinding every day. Baba also ground for 1 hour every day. Anna recovered from his injuries and was told to sleep in the ashram. Baba held a meeting of all the mandali and explained to each his duties for the next year. Burjorji, Kandiram, Naval, Chanji, and Barso came on the 8th. Okay, I think I should take a pause right here.